So how exciting is this? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sharon Whiteman. And as you know, we've got lots of regular guests here today and some new people actually. We've been doing this call for some 17 years, Diana Hunter, Gary Knapp, and myself. And we always love to have the members of the Robbins family on our call. And today is no exception. Kevin, we probably have a bit of a joke here because I've been asking for a while, but he's got such a busy schedule that it's taken us a few attempts to get him here. And we've got a special morning planned for you, actually. Something we haven't done for a while is just focusing on Kevin, his journey and the lessons and the growth that we can all benefit from and learning from that. So just to give you a bit about his background, Kevin Robbins is a world-renowned speaker and one of the most popular trainers in Mannatech. Starting in 1994 by working just part-time in his Mannatech business, Kevin expanded his business to a significant full-time income. He met his wife, Dawn, on Mannatech's cruise to Alaska in 1996, and they have two great children with their Mannatech business, allowing them to be stay-at-home parents. Following in his father's footsteps, in 2003, Kevin was honored with the highest award the company bestows, the Ray Robbins Giving Spirit Award. He has certainly given generously of his time and skills to Mannatech, serving on the advisory council for over 7 years. Being in the top 100 income earners since 1997, Kevin has earned well over $1 million in Mannatech and is now the associate representative on the Mannatech board of directors. Kevin passionately represents the associate base to both the U.S. corporate and the board alike. This training is, again, what I just mentioned, is going to be all about Kevin and also all about Mannatech's bright future, which, I think it's always elevating for people to hear another person's perspective. So Kevin, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you, Sharon. I appreciate you inviting me. And yes, you have done a great job of inviting me on multiple occasions. It's just our calendars haven't lined up until this morning, but I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for everyone tuning in. I love my Aussies, my friends that many of you have gotten a chance to meet at events here, or I've also traveled there a few times. But again, for those of you who don't know me, welcome to Mannatech, welcome to this call, and I'm just happy to be here.
Fantastic, Kevin. So, I think it's good to go back to the beginning. So we've got some brand new partners, fairly new partners on the call today. And it's often we look at someone else's success story and we think it's going to be different than ours, or trouble-free or meteoric rise to the top. And I think it's really good to go back and look at the foundations and how it starts. And how did you end up partnering with Mannatech, Kevin?
Well, that's probably a long story. I'll actually make this short. I know you've probably got quite a few questions, but definitely my journey to Mannatech is similar to other people's journeys, and that may sound unusual. My father is one of the co-founders of the company, and you would certainly think, well, obviously you're with the company, but actually I was very skeptical. I was not someone that was looking for an opportunity. I was 27 years old at the time. It's been a while, but I was 27 years old, and frankly, I was happy with doing what I was doing. I had a college degree. I was working in corporate world. I was healthy, generally healthy, my body. I certainly wasn't taking care of it. I wasn't putting the right things in my body, but I took my health for granted. And at any rate, I was not really interested in what my dad was talking to me about. But ultimately, some of you may know my father. He's fairly persistent, and he continued to talk to me primarily about my health and about it. He knew that I wasn't really taking care of my health, and we have some things in our family that it's important. And so he started talking to me about this company that had a science focus, that had products that validated by science, that were really important for someone's health. Natural products are really important for someone's health. So first and foremost, he wanted me to take the products, and I did. That was the first thing that I did. Got a little information, found out, some great things about this company and these products. And so I started taking the products. And even though I was 27, even though I had great, in my mind, I had great health, all of us have things going on in our life and our health that can improve. And I suddenly started feeling even better than I did before. I had more energy. I slept better. I did have some, some allergies and things like that I dealt with on a daily basis. Well, suddenly my body was just able to handle that better. It was, I didn't really understand it, but, I just felt a lot better. And I was 27 and thought, my goodness, if this is doing this for me, impacting me at a young age, there's a lot of people that could benefit from these products. And so I started very just part-time. I love the business model. We can get into that a little later today. I love the entrepreneurship model. And so I started just very part-time, introducing other people to the products, to Mannatech, sending us some information. They would buy it directly from the company, not from me. They'd buy it directly from the company, and the company would send me checks. I thought that was really cool. That, every once in a while I'd get a check in the mail. And in the beginning, they were small. But as I started to learn a little more about sharing these products, and frankly, because the products work so well, people continued to buy on an ongoing basis. Love that. That was something I learned about leverage. I didn't know what it was at the time, but we'll talk about that later today as well, I'm sure. But it just started growing, and I started making some part-time income. And before too long, Sharon, I'll say before too long, after a couple of years, it turned into full-time income, and I have been full-time ever since. But I love this business. I love doing what I do. I'm really glad that my dad was persistent, that he didn't just let me just say, "Oh, I'm not interested." And I think that's an important characteristic. He wasn't pushy, but he was persistent. And I'm very thankful to this day that he was.
Yes, it's a transformation, isn't it? And one that you can't even envision from the very beginning. It's hindsight is very powerful. So
Right.
how did you, from going to part-time to full-time, was there a certain point that you decided that this was going to be your main focus, or how did that change come? Because I know you had a career before you started with Mannatech. How did you make that shift?
Well, there's a couple of interesting stories there. So as I said, I was very part-time, and I was making maybe a couple of $100 a month part-time. So not big money, but I was appreciative of that. I was able to pay for my products and had some extra money for bills, and so it was really cool. What really happened is, so I started to certainly be more interested in this business model. It wasn't something that at this time I was like, hey, I could do this full time as a career, but I did start learning more about how to more effectively share this product. I started learning more about how to present, and kind of honing my own skills. So I was taking some action along those regards. But something happened. I had 2 jobs at the time. One, I was full time. I was real estate, but on the weekends, I would sell cars. My best friend was a manager at a car dealership, and they would have me come in really on Saturdays, one day, Saturday, and sell cars. Now that's the best day to sell cars. If you're only gonna do it one day, just show up on Saturday and you can make some really good money. Well, I made about $800 a month from this part-time job, and I had done it for a couple of years. And one Saturday, this new general manager that the company had called me in, and he just said, hey, some of the guys around here, guys and girls, are a little jealous that you get to come in one day a week and you make as much money as some of the people that are doing this on a full-time basis. And he said, basically, I don't want to let you go. I'd like to hire you full-time, but I'm not going to be able to let you just do this on one Saturday. And I said, hey, I'm not going to sell cars full-time. That's not my passion. That's not my interest. I'm not going to do it. And so I lost $800 a month, right? The very next month, I made $800 in Mannatech.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, so somebody, the universe, the Lord is telling me something important here. And so then I really got serious about it. Started doing, started applying some of the principles that I had been learning about, really been focused on my list and about, following up with people, about sharing this very intentionally, doing 3-way calls with my dad and some other people. And I grew it to about maybe a couple $1,000s a month. So again, that's not walk away, full-time income, but it put me in a position where I saw the potential. And I just, by then, and it took about 2 years. Like I said, 2 years when I started to this point. By then I was just really, I was passionate about this business. I loved it. I was seeing some growth. And so I just made the decision to quit my full-time job. And I've been doing this full-time ever since. And it's been really a fun ride.
Wow. And so looking back, I mean, you've been with, is that 26 years now?
26, 27, 1994, it depends on how you do the
94.
math. Yeah, I think this year is 27 years.
Wow. And so I've been with Mannatech since 1998.
Yeah.
And in that time, there's been many peaks and troughs for Mannatech on all kinds of levels. And so,
Right.
There's peaks and troughs in the business, but let's just focus on Mannatech first.
Sure.
Those times when we had big troubles and then big wins, how do you manage it, and what do you advise for people when they see those kind of things outside? How do you manage your feelings or emotions or your strategies in business?
Yeah, I think that's first of all, like you said, it's life. It's certainly not just Mannatech. It's anything that you do, you're going to have peaks and valleys. Whether that's a relationship that you're in, whether that's another business that you're in, your relationship with your kids, whatever, your sports teams that you follow. There's going to be some high points, and then there's going to be some low points. And so I think knowing that going in puts you in a position to make a decision, that you are going to persevere, to make a decision that you are going to push through all the low points, and understand that quitting is the worst thing you can do. Quitting is quitting on yourself. When you quit something and just be like, hey, I'm out. And that's totally different from making a strategic decision. All of us from time to time make strategic decisions to change directions or to do something else, but that's not quitting. And I believe in this business, when you have a tough time and you just quit, you're just giving up on yourself. And Sharon, I actually have a little training that I do on what I call pushing through the quitting zone, because I think this is so important. I think that understanding that there are tough times in life, again, even in your relationship, but it's what you need to do is to have made the decision before you ever get to those times that you're going to push through. Right? That's really what's important, is making a decision before you ever push, before you ever get to that point. If you would, what, can I just show you something that I've got here on quitting? Let me just pull this up here. I think.
You want to share your screen?
I can't. Let me do it another way. Because I think this is such an important question that I want to pull. I've got this training right over here. It's just a little bullet points.
I think, quitting, just while you're doing that, Kevin, on reflection, is often when you're up right against either a growth point or a breakthrough point, isn't it? If you can hang in there.
Absolutely. So, I just wanted to pull up my notes on this training that I do. So, what leads to quitting, and I'm gonna go through this really quickly, but what leads to quitting, number one, is lack of belief. Lack of belief leads to quitting. When you don't fully believe in what it is you're trying to do, or believe in our case, in the products or the compensation or the business, then just that lack of belief can lead you to quit. So what you need to do is, before you get to a place where you're at a crossroads, don't wait till you get there. Right now, start building that belief. And again, I think that's what these calls are about. Going to events is about that. Taking the products, getting the results. There's a lot you can do to build your belief, but you start doing that now. Number two is, people believe that it would happen faster. That's one of the things that leads to quitting, is someone just, I just thought it would happen quicker. So therefore I'm going to quit. I'm going to give up. And really the answer is, when you're doing something of value, something that's worth it, then it doesn't matter how long it takes. And so, yeah, some people get there quicker, some people it takes longer, but be willing to do it as long as it takes. I think that's value. Number 3 is I don't have anyone to talk to. That's just one of the reasons that people quit, is they just frankly run out of people to talk to. Well, that's why we talk about making a list, how important it is to every day, just as you're living life, be adding someone to that list. You can just be in line and have a quick conversation, ultimately add someone to your list. Because when your list runs dry, that puts you at risk of quitting. The next one is just someone ridiculed me. This is a big one. It was really big for me that I would take things personal, Sharon. And, ultimately this is just listening to critics. And if we listen to critics, then we're going to be in a position where we might quit down the road. And so again, make the decision today that you're not going to listen to critics, listen to your spouse, listen to the Lord, and then go with the decision that you made, and know that people are going to try to drag you down, pull you down all the way. That's just human nature. So don't listen to the critics. And then, okay, so now I got 4 things on how to push through the quitting zone. And number 1 is just know your purpose, or, that's what your why is. That's why that why is so important. Number 2 is about reading books and listening to audios. There's so many, good things out there, but, constantly putting positive thoughts in your head. Art Williams is someone, now he's really old in network marketing from way back, but Art Williams talks a lot about don't quit, never give up. And listening to somebody like Art Williams is really valuable. 2 more things. Learn how to appreciate small successes along the way. This is one where I think so many people, maybe they set a big goal, and I'm a big believer in big goals, but if you're waiting to get to that big goal to celebrate, then you're going to set yourself up to be in a position where ultimately you're going to feel like you're not getting there fast enough, or you're not getting there. But celebrate those successes all along the way, no matter what it is. And the last one is you don't have to do it all. Network marketing is about teamwork. You don't have to be the best recruiter, the best trainer, the best presenter, the best, everything. It's about working as a team and finding people's strengths within that. So Sharon, you probably didn't expect all of that, but I think that quitting is probably the number 1 problem that most people have in this industry. And it doesn't always have to be full out quitting, like terminating from it's just quitting in your heart, quitting in your mind, maybe still showing up to events, showing up to meetings, but you have quit in your heart. And if we can push through those and re-establish that belief and build that why, and have that belief that we're going to be successful, I think that that's probably the number 1 thing that all of us can do to be successful in this business.
That's awesome, Kevin. And well, as you're talking, one of the other questions I wanted to touch on is about when you, and it's even more emphasized with what you just said about teamwork, and that you don't have to be everything, is knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Can you expand on that? Because I know you have some thoughts about that.
I love that. And this was so beneficial for me because I, in the beginning, even now, I have, I get nervous about making presentations or, giving talks and stuff. But in the beginning, I was really nervous. I was very fearful. And so I'm kind of going down a tangent now, but I would, create outlines and bullet points on every single point that I was going to make. And so I just spent a lot of time just kind of preparing myself. But so that's one area, that being a presenter. Another area is being a recruiter or someone that is really good at talking to new people. Another area is that we need to strengthen is training and being able to, onboard a new person and train them and give them whatever product or business training. And then, certainly leadership, follow up, those sorts of things. So those are all strengths that are important for this business. Well, the good news is, Sharon, you don't have to have all of those attributes. Now, we can always grow and get better in those areas, but because this business is about working together as a team. That's what I love about network marketing. It's what I love about this business is we all have the same goal. If you will, we all are playing, on the same team, and your success is my success. And if we have that mindset that your success is my success, then each person that we bring on board, we can work together as a team. So therefore, there's going to be people on your team that are better presenters. And those are the people that you probably want to get on the Zooms and do the presentations and use those skills. And there's probably people on your team that are much better trainers. And so again, use those skills. There's people that might be really good at meeting someone, out getting some food, or going to the grocery store, whatever, just getting names and meeting people, but maybe they're not good at following up with those people, at sending them information. That maybe they're either nervous or they just don't know what to do. And so again, maybe that's where you could help them out. So this business is not about being the best at everything. It's about finding other people's strengths and working together. And when you do that, I think that's where you're going to ultimately have the best strength in your business.
That's awesome. I mean, I know I can reflect on that, in my team. Many people here know Diana and Gary. We work together partly cross line. And,
Right.
Gary's got awesome analytical skills, and so does Diana, but Diana's a better educator than me, and
Yeah.
she says, some of her trainings are just outstanding. Well, they all are really. And it's, that we bring that together for the whole of the, the Australasian region. And I think we can do that in on our team we do as well, but anybody out there who's thinking about this, you can do this in your own micro team as well as it grows to a macro team.
Absolutely. And it works together, cross line or working on the same team. But I've had people that are on my team that, again, were really good at meeting that new person and creating interest, but then they might ask me to come do a presentation for them. And so that's what we do in this business. For those that might be watching new, that we used to call those three-way calls. Now with Zoom, I don't know, I just think they're team calls or whatever, but it's working together for the same goal. And Sharon, I think that works beautifully.
Yeah, absolutely. Leave no man or person alone in this business. And so the other thing we talked on that would be important to cover today is leadership skills. And you have some thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, I do. And what I say, I'm just moving you back over here. What I say about leadership may be different than you hear in other places. A lot of people talk about being, a hard worker, being great at time management, being a great delegator. And again, all those are very important leadership skills, I think, no question. But for me, I think one of the best leadership skills to ultimately have is being a person of integrity. When you're a leader in this business, you want to be, or you need to be, someone that people want to follow. Are you someone that people want to follow? And again, I go back to what we were just talking about, working together as a team. And this was something that was very helpful for me in the beginning as I was kind of building my team, is just having that mindset that I was going to be very, as honest with a new person when I brought them on board as I could possibly be about what this business is all about. It's not overhyping it. It's not over promising things, even talking about, hey, this business may or may not be for you. It's not for everyone. But if you are interested in it, it's a fantastic business, but it is a real business. It takes work. It takes effort. It takes learning how to accept no and be okay with it. Don't take it personal. But it also can be extremely rewarding. And so again, being, I think, authentic and having integrity, I think in that area is very important. And And really that projects in many different areas. Again, I asked the question, are you someone that other people want to follow? Are you someone that is kind? Are you someone that is uplifting? Do people like to be around you? Or are you, negative? Sometimes, I know we all can be from time to time, but do you tend to be negative? Do you tend to make people uncomfortable with maybe some of your statements or some of your opinions? That's just something, if you're going to be in leadership, then it's something I think that you need to think about. And for me, again, I want to be someone that's uplifting. I want to make you, feel good about yourself. If I'm unhappy about something, if I'm uncomfortable about something, I'm not going to tell you, my person on my team, I might take it to someone else that maybe can help me with my problem, but I'm not going to just complain. I'm not going to be, oh, this didn't do right. No, this didn't happen. Oh, this didn't, that's not what people want to be around. And conversely, if I'm always thinking about how to make whatever situation I'm in as positive as I can make it, and looking for solutions and looking for opportunities, that's the kind of person, that's the kind of leader, Sharon, I think that people want to follow. Whatever they themselves are thinking, if they're around a positive person, people tend to be more positive. If they're around somebody that believes in what we're doing, that believes in Mannatech, that believes in these products, that believes in this business, that tends to kind of rub off on others, that belief system. I had someone once tell me, Sharon, and I'm going on a little long here, but I had someone once tell me, this is something that I'll never forget. I was making a presentation and I was talking about how to get started. And at the time we had this thing called an all-star pack and had all these products in it. I think it was like $1,000. And so I was just explaining the value of this pack and all the products in it. And at the very end, the guy stopped me and he said, this is probably 15 years ago, but he said, I don't have any idea if anything you're saying is true or not, but I can tell that you believe it because I can tell that you definitely believe it. And that's kind of part of what I'm talking about, is just being someone that other people want to be around. And by the way, that guy bought, and he is still one of my customers and associates to this day. So anyway, that's what I think about leadership. Sharon, there's a lot obviously that you can talk about when regards to leadership, but I think it boils down to, are you someone that other people want to be around? And if you are, if you're not, there's a lot of work that you can do, personal development, to get to that place where people do want to be around you. They are interested in following you. And really, not in this business, that's what we're doing, right? We're trying to build a team of people that want to follow us to success. And so if you're not there yet, just an honest assessment. There's ways to help and get to that place where you are positive and uplifting. And if you are that way, then just be more of it and be a stronger leader in that regard. And I think you'll find that people will want to follow you even more.
As you're talking, I'm reflecting and I'm finding that a lot of that's wrapped up in values. Two things are coming to mind when you're talking. Is number one is learning to master your focus, what you focus on. Because some people who dip into negativity, as soon as you're dipping there, you have to see, what am I focusing on right now that's brought me here?
Right. Yes. And, there's different ways. Like my wife, for instance, right now has just made a decision that she's not going to watch the news and read papers and go online and look, because it made her feel negative. And then therefore that manifested itself in many different ways. And so that's what she's choosing to do, to just be a more positive person. And, right now she is way more positive when you just kind of aren't reading all that negativity. That's just one thing. But there are ways, if you do have that inclination, that you can change that and you can do something different and make yourself a more positive person.
Absolutely. I'm with Dawn. I'm skipping the news now too. I'm much happier.
That's right.
I'll just live in my little world, look at the trees and the sun, and that's a good strategy. The other thing that comes to mind is values, because I'm reflecting, like I speak often on this call that I'm sort of in dueling passions right now, where my focus has been sort of hijacked to helping Lyme patients in Australia. And what I've been reflecting over the last month actually on why that is, because I'm so passionate about Mannatech, is that, one of my highest values is integrity. So the things about Mannatech that's in integrity is that people deserve to hear about nutritional glycans, right?
Right.
They deserve to know that they can make, solidify their household finances, or have a business that, or a mission or a career that they're passionate about. And then M5M, you wrap that's all about integrity and high truth.
Yes.
And right now, because my kids are at risk of Lyme, it's sort of just barely beating out, but I'm really, really torn. But, for people listening today, how important are those values in evaluating how you partner with Mannatech?
Well, I think that's important. I was going to say, this starts to move over, your integrity, what you love, what you're interested in, obviously moves to your passion, and your passion, I think that's a value system as well, is definitely what's going to motivate you and what's going to move you. And so find that passion. And, we'll tie it back to this business. Not everyone is passionate about glyconutrients, maybe, or about, how people can be impacted by these products. A lot of people are. Maybe that's not your passion, but maybe your passion might be helping people make some extra income. That's my dad's passion. He loves these products. Of course, they've changed his life. He loves this company. He loves M5M, but his passion is lifting people up financially. He'll tell you that every time you talk to him. That's his passion.
He's awesome.
Other people, your passion might be M5M. You just mentioned that. And what a wonderful cause. And, again, we all love it, but is that your passion? And so find your passion and follow that. And that's going to really help with your success as well. And, make it, and I say follow that. The more you talk about something that you're passionate about, the more likely you are that people are going to listen to what it is that you have to say. Yeah. If you start talking about things that you're not passionate about, people can pick up on that in a hurry. People can pick up on that.
Magnetic, is it?
In a big
the opposite
hurry.
of magnetic.
So when you are passionate about something, when you really care, when you're talking about the business or you're talking about the products, then people are going to really, understand that. And I realize, all of us have to talk about all three of those different areas, but finding that passion point, I think is really important. From another just values that, people have, we talked about, integrity. I think, I don't know if this is a value, but being hungry is certainly one that's very important. This being, and that's part of being passionate. But being someone that is really motivated to make a change. Yeah. Being really motivated. And maybe that's just a change in the product, not in the product, change in your health. Being motivated to make a change is very important in whatever it is that you do. And then, last is just being willing to be wrong. That's kind of, maybe let me flip it around and saying, not always having to be right. Not always having to be right. And again, I'm not trying to go into political conversations here. That's not, but so often we try to win the conversation. We try to win whatever it is that, even you're talking about Mannatech. Sometimes somebody has got a question, try to win that conversation. And just instead of giving somebody permission to have a different opinion or giving them that it's okay for them to maybe right now not have the same belief that you do in the products. I think that's very, very, that's kind of that authenticity, but that's really important from a prospecting standpoint. And, if we stop just trying to be right and instead just be authentic, and again, have that passion and let people decide what they want to do. Just let people decide whatever it is that they want to do. Our job is not to convince them. Our job is simply to talk to them. And our job is simply to give them enough information, hopefully, that they can make the right decisions. And, ultimately, Sharon, that was a big problem of mine in the beginning is I took everything personal. is I always felt like when somebody said no, that it was because either I didn't present it right, or I didn't tell them the right information, or I must have not sounded right, or, whatever. It was always about me. And then so what happens then when you take things personal is you become afraid to talk to people. You're afraid, that, oh, they might say no, or, whatever. And so once you realize it's not about me, it's, it's about them, they're whatever they decide, what people decide. And our job is simply just to give them the information. Again, I'm talking about my dad. My dad talks about, I believe that I'm bringing a gift. I believe that I have a gift to give you, but it's your job to accept it. And if you don't want to accept it, that's okay. It goes back to what I was saying earlier. That's okay. We don't have to force you to. And then later, life is going to change, and you might remember this conversation and you might come back to it. So really, we have a gift. And as long as we're authentic and we're within our belief and our passion, then I think that's going to set us up for a lot more yeses, even though we're okay with people saying no. I think you're going to get a lot more yeses that way.
No, that's awesome. And we haven't touched on this, but how important is asking questions as part of telling those stories?
Well, it's very important. That's not my strength. that's not my strength, because I tend to want to just tell people, right? I just want to tell you what I know, and I want to tell you about the comp plan. I want to tell you about the products. And I'm telling you, even today, that's not my strength. Although I know how valuable it is to be able to ask someone, tell me about you, tell me about what you're looking for or what you're interested in. Tell me about your health. Tell me about, what you're doing financially. If you ask these questions, it sets people up. Let me rephrase that. If you ask the right questions, or you have enough questions, then it allows you to learn more about that person, so that you can then talk to them about maybe what their passion is, as opposed to just telling them what it is that we want to tell them. So asking questions is really invaluable. And again, I wish I was better at it, but I'm working on it every day.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. It's easy to understand the content and the passion and know how, there's no way that glyconutrients or nutritional glycan should be a best kept secret in 2021. Like,
That's
people
right.
need to know about this.
That's right.
But then if we get back to this person and their life and their journey, and, tell me more about that, and just keep asking questions until they're engaged, then they're going to be an open book wanting to know what you know.
That's right.
So I'm wondering, it was 3/4 of the way through, I'm wondering if we should touch on the Associate Council. I know that you've represented all the North American associates, and now you're representing global associates. Tell us about the Associate Council and then the transition to the board.
Well, so right now I'm not on an Associate Council, only on the board, wouldn't be able to be on both. But I will go back and just say, really, as far as being on the council, being an Associate Council, it really comes from a place where this company really cares about the field and cares about what the field thinks and what the field wants. And that's not completely normal in this industry. A lot of companies make the decision, it's called top down, they just make the decision what they're going to do and they just push it down. There's not a back and forth. And so almost from day one, I certainly wasn't part of council's day one. I started in 1999, but from the beginning, this company made the decision that the growth of this company was going to be a partnership with the field. Was not going to be a top-down situation, but it was going to be a partnership with the field. So just one of the ways that plays out is that through the years and through the different markets, the company has set up various within country councils, and then they've done some global ones. And so, yes, I had the privilege to be on the North American advisory council for 5 years. Then I retired for a couple of years, and then I came back for 3 more. So 8 years I was on there, and you really get a great sense of the inner workings of Mannatech, because we were working on all the new projects and new products and new marketing campaigns, and we again really partnered with the company through many of those projects. So that was a great experience. What I'm doing-
Kevin, what kind of decisions were associate driven that you've been able to impact? Not that the company would fight it, but that have been really important and most impactful in your memory.
Okay, so ask that question again.
You know, some of the decisions that the associate council, you as part of that, been able to influence in positive change for associates globally. What are the kind
Yeah.
of things that you've been able to influence and that the company, you know, really took your ear on? Does anything stand to mind?
Well, I mean, nothing's just jumping out. I mean, I feel like because it was such a partnership, we made so many decisions for the company, whether, working with the company, whether that was new product launches,
Yeah.
whether that was compensation at times where, we've made some improvements or updated various things like that with the compensation plan. At one time, I was actually, before I was chairman of the associate council, I was chairman of the compensation committee. And again, this is back in the 1999, 2000 era. This is not the latest comp plan, but at that time we were moving away from a binary compensation plan. So we needed a unilevel. And again, this is part of what makes Mannatech really awesome is they brought people in from the field. And so I led that committee that then worked directly with the company as we implemented a new compensation plan. And so the company listened to what was important to the field. Of course, the company has things that are important to the company, the margins and making sure that, that the payout is structured right, but the field has its own interest in the way that compensation pays and how it pays out. At any rate, so probably that, that was a very successful launch, very successful compensation plan. So you just asked me personally, that probably is the one that comes to mind the most. But well, we really worked with so many different aspects of the company that it's really hard to pick just one.
No, awesome. And so what's it like? Probably quite a different experience to be the associate representative on the actual Mannatech board.
Yeah. So, again, for those that are watching me, we're a publicly traded company. So we have a board of directors, and our board of directors, there's six members, and I am the only one that is what's considered an insider, somebody that's part of the company. My dad held that position for, I think, like 15 years. And then he retired, and then they nominated me to take that role and be the insider. And it is, Sharon, it's a very humbling experience, if you will. I mean, the other 5 board members for me are very, very qualified. And for instance, we have one that was the president of Avon in Europe for a number of years. His name is Bob Toth. We have another board member that was the CEO of Reader's Digest. We have another board member that was actually in the cabinet, in the financial cabinet, in a presidential financial cabinet. He's a whiz at accounting and at running businesses, and that's Larry Jobe, and he's our committee over all the financials of Mannatech, and so anyway, we have very accomplished board members. And what I love about our board, what I was very surprised is, so again, it's very different than being an associate. We were always on kind of the front end. What does the website look like? What is the new product and all that? And the board obviously is from the bottom line standpoint. And that's really what I expected. Again, as a public company, we want to make sure we have our expenses right, our SG&A, and your margins, and we focus on that. But I tell you, we spend as much time on the board talking with the company strategically about new product launches and bringing in some great input, again, from somebody that ran $1 billion product launches at Avon, and then again all of our other board members. We talk about digital transformation. One of our board members is an IT expert. We talk about digital transformation and what that's going to do for us moving forward. We talk about the potential of international expansion and get various input. And so I love the fact that our board believes in this company in a huge way. We're very excited about the future. We're very excited about the opportunities we have right now as we're building momentum. And I don't want to just say everything in this one answer, because I know you're going to ask me about the future and that sort of stuff. But the board that we have, they're very serious. They're very accomplished. This is serious business when you're a board member on a publicly traded company, and all the things from cybersecurity and all the FTC and all the things, or SEC things that we do have to worry about, that we have financial fiduciary responsibilities to worry about. But knowing that our board, and again, I didn't even mention Stan Frederick, and he's the chairman of the board. He's a Hall of Fame member in the DSA. Our board is really passionate about Mannatech. They love our product line. They love our associate. They love our business model. They know we're in the right place. We have a lot of opportunity in the future. So Sharon, it's a real privilege for me really to be able to work on that board, and to really know the long-term goals of Mannatech, and know that, man, we are in the right place. We have the right company, and man, we plan to be here 25 years down the road. And overall, the numbers we're looking at are quite a bit bigger than they are today. Now, not a forward-looking statement, all that.
It's a God statement.
But we're excited. Yeah.
That's awesome. And before I want to, finish off with the future and stuff, but what's your passion and your heart for M5M and what's happening in that world?
Yeah, I tell you, that's really awesome. And I tell you, just going back to the board, we spend some of our time talking about M5M. We get M5M updates, and board members, every once in a while you see a little tear in their eye, because we really are making a difference in these kids. And Sarah Louthan, who is our executive director of M5M, is doing just a fantastic job of partnering us with different organizations to help us get our nutrition into more kids. And for instance, she's recently partnered up with an organization called Kids Around the World, and they provide a food packet, some lentils and some rice and small amount of protein. And then we add our nutrition to this packet. And we're feeding kids today that sometimes it's the only meal that they get that day. But I've also heard that there's a few places where they get 2 of these a week. Some of these kids, it might be the only meals they get that week. And so, that it really does pull at your hearts, and know that some of these kids are in some really difficult situations. And I can't even imagine, most of my understanding of these organizations are pre-COVID. Can't even imagine how they are today, just with the way the world is. And how difficult, with supply chain, how difficult it is to probably get the relief to some of these places. But Sarah has continued to get our nutrition into these kids. We're serving about 100,000 kids per day, every single day, 100,000. And we'd love to make that number more. But I tell you what, the 100,000 that we're serving, every single one of those kids has a better life now because of this Mannatech nutrition, because it allows their mind to be clearer, their body to be a little stronger. When you have nothing and then you get something of such value, the impact is, tenfold over what it might be for somebody like us that we have access to nutrition. Even if we condemn it sometimes, what's in the refrigerator in the grocery stores, it's still there compared to these kids that literally get nothing. So it makes a really big difference, Sharon. And I love M5M. I love what it does. And we're looking for more ways to grow it even bigger and make it, as big as we can. But I just want to keep in mind that none of this would happen without you on this call, without everyone that buys these products on a daily basis. It's because of you that the kids get this nutrition. And just make sure that you understand that, how much the company appreciates you, and make sure you understand the company appreciates your contribution And so that's why we want you to have big teams, have huge teams, because when you have a big team, that makes a lot of more contribution to M5M. So that's really what our motivation is, what our goal is we want you to have really big teams so we can support a lot more kids.
That's right. And everybody listening today, all of our customers fall into that category of
Right.
gratitude as well. It's awesome. It's really awesome. So Kevin, the future of Mannatech, what are you excited about for us?
Well, I'll tell you, we just had a board meeting last week. So I know I've talked a little board stuff, but we just had a meeting. So I got a lot of this stuff on my, on the front of my brain. And so one of the things that I'm excited about is, I think it goes without saying that, Mannatech has gone through a period of time where we've not had a lot of growth recently. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Some of that's COVID and some other things, but this is what it is. We've just had a period of time where we've been in a bit of a stagnation period. Again, we're a publicly traded company, so you can see our numbers. Now, within that, there's lots of pockets of great success. So lots of pockets of growth and where there's really good activity, but again, just overall. But what we're seeing just over the last, say, 6 months is we're seeing markets that haven't grown overall in years. We're seeing growth. We're seeing green shoots. We're seeing markets that have been growing in the last few years. We're seeing them grow even more. And so we're really excited to see that growth. And again, not just because we want to see it from Mannatech side, but we know that growth comes from you. It's because our associates are seeing growth on their teams, that we're seeing it in Australia, Australasia. We know you've had a lot of challenges there, particularly with COVID. Again, don't want to go political, but even that, we're seeing growth and we're seeing success in your teams. And so again, everyone really appreciates all that you do. So anyway, so that's one area, Sharon, is that I'll stop saying I believe that we're going to see Mannatech start to grow at accelerated rates, where maybe over the next 4 to 5 years, instead of just maybe a 2 or 3, 4 or 5% growth, we're going to see double-digit type growth. And again, that comes because you're seeing growth in your team, you're seeing growth in your business. So that's one area, just kind of an overall excited about growth. Another thing that we're excited about as a board and a management team, that I personally am very excited about, is some new, how do I say this? Some kind of new science, if you will, or new focus on the value of glyconutrients, ambrose, and on gut health. I don't want to say a whole lot more because we're going to be rolling some of this out in the very near future, but all of a sudden, a lot of the I's are being dotted and the T's crossed of why we've been seeing such amazing results for so many years. And we've seen some things recently about how our products are converted in the gut and have improved the gut health. And then ultimately, that's what's leading to better brain health, better immune support, better cognitive, the things that we're familiar with, the better digestive health. But we're going to be able to start connecting those things from a story standpoint in the very, very near future that I think is going to blow your mind, make this so simple to educate people about, that I think it's going to really change the dynamic of how we do this business. Because there's no question, if you were to ask me, what's the number, well, maybe not the number, what's the most difficult part of Mannatech? And I think I would say that I think our story is kind of hard to tell. I love our story. We all love our story, but cell to cell communication, it's a hard story to tell. When you know it, it's valuable. It's really important, but it's a hard story, especially someone that doesn't understand it at all. And so to have an easier way to tell that story, it's not moving away. I'm not trying to go that way. It's just, we're just very excited because we're going to have an ability to better tell our ambrose story in a way that's going to be so much more powerful and impactful. And that's part of why I'm excited about the growth, because I think we're going to see some real growth. And so that is something that I'm very excited about. The other thing I'm excited about is I'm just ready to see people again and to travel And I believe it's that we're going to move past all this craziness, and then we're going to be doing that again. And I don't really know how, but it doesn't matter. When you believe it, when you know it, then that's what matters. And so I want to come to Australia again. I want to go to an incentive and have some fun and see our Mannatech family, because, being in these little Zoom meetings has been great, but, we're not all little digital characters. We're real people. And to be able to get back together again, I think is something that is really important. And I think that it's really gonna help solidify that growth that I'm excited about. So anyway, there you go, Sharon. There's some things I'm excited about.
And well, Kevin, that's awesome. I don't have any room in my body for goosebumps, because I just have wave after wave after wave of goosebumps. It's Mannatech's so amazing. And what a great story, and what a way to sort of complete our time together. There was some questions. I might just, there's one question about China. I might just send to you in a message if you could answer that one. And there's even a comment comparing you to George Clooney in your current.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not going to accept that, but thank you, whoever said that. I don't have my glasses on. So I can't
awesome hour with you, Kevin. Okay. What's in your heart to leave people with today?
You know what? What's in my heart is you're in the right place. Thank you for being here. I know that, there's a lot of places you probably could have chosen to be this morning, but thank you for being here. But broader than that, thank you for being part of Mannatech. You're in the right place. You're in the right opportunity, and you are going to be hugely successful. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, maybe that success is just sharing this product with a lot of people. Maybe that success is really financial. Maybe that success is blessing hundreds or even thousands of kids because of what it is that you do. But ultimately, just again, I thank you for being here, and I am just really passionate about seeing your success.
Kevin, God bless you. Thank you so much for being here. There's so much gratitude in the chat. Might even have to download it and send it to you. So thank you for blessing us today.
I have my glasses off. So yeah, send me the chat. I'd love to see everyone's comments. Thank you for having me. I love being on these Saturday calls. I know it's a lot of work on your part and on the entire team that does these, but we thank you for doing this every single week. And so it's my pleasure to be here tonight.
Well, we're equally blessed. Thank you. So next week's Manifest, everyone. So make sure you get on that link that Dinah probably put. If not, we'll find it for you. And we'll see you at Manifest next week. That's exciting. I know there's lots of announcements. So Sarah Lawson was on last week, and she's barely containing herself. I'll have to. Yeah, she couldn't.
Sarah on. Awesome.
Yeah, she was. She did a great job too. So you sort of pulled her content together this week too. So I'm sure everybody's been blessed. Thank you, Kevin.
Awesome.
Have a great Friday.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.